In this episode you will see the battle between the demon Hyacinth and Denji the chainsaw. You'll be able to watch a special operation to rescue Power and her pet. Yes, she has a pet, but first things first. Even though the demon had been defeated, demon hunters, much less those possessed by the special department, had no right to act like that. Makima scolded her subordinates for such antics. And they started blaming each other like little children. If Denji was telling some truth, that he really couldn't do anything, but tried to stop Power. Then the girls started lying at all, that Denji had pushed her into it, that he was the one who told her, like, throwing herself at the demon. She's also very upset with him, so she tries to avoid him, but she doesn't let him see her. And all this was happening in front of Makima. She quickly made it clear to the boys that if this continued, she would simply get rid of such workers out of necessity. Hearing the threat in her words and getting a good kick out of it, Power had to apologize and promise that it wouldn't happen again in the future. Denji was quick to admit his guilt, too. He'll be watching his partner more closely from now on. After all, he's more human than she is. On that kindly note, the argument ended, and the team dispersed. Our young hunters entered a small store where there were many vending machines with food and drinks. The cook wanted to choose something to drink while Denji waited for her. Suddenly, a pussycat ran into the building. Surprisingly possessed took her in her arms and cradled her affectionately. She stroked her soft fur and told the guy her story. It turns out that once upon a time, when Makima hadn't caught Power yet, she had wandered the woods and fed on the blood of animals. She needs blood in order to function, since she's a blood demon after all, even if she's human. And so, as usual, she killed some animals, hunted game, and thought herself to be the supreme being of the universe. Until one moment that turned her life upside down. She met a cat, an ordinary unremarkable cat, the likes of which Power could eat for breakfast. Who will win? Ignore, Nyasini wins. Like and subscribe, Denji wins. But not this time. Something hooked her. It was as if she felt something, and it was an unusual emotion of fear or joy. It was something different, unlike anything she had experienced before. Since she is not fully human, she no longer recognizes any living thing but herself. Everyone around her owes her, the whole world revolves around her, and she can take advantage of anyone, for no one matters to her. But suddenly, in that moment, the tiny animal awakened in her a feeling of love and affection. Or maybe it was just some kind of pity or a feeling of loneliness. She can't answer that question, but she knows for a fact that the feeling struck her deep in her heart. Power took the kitty with her, and the feeling proved to be mutual. At first, she thought she was going to hang around with it for a little while and then eat it. No big deal, just take the cat as a spare, for a rainy day. Soon her spare food became a real friend with whom she could pass the time. The girl named her pet Myavka. They stayed together for more than one day, traveling through the woods, resting on the rooftops, and enjoying this life. It was as if they were alike, as if two soulmates had met in this wicked world. They were so lonely that they found salvation in each other. But one scary dark night, Power, as usual, was resting with Myavka on the roof of the house. Suddenly the demon Hyacinth appeared. He grabbed the kitty and threatened Power that he would eat her. After hearing her story, Denji shared his equally sad story about Pochita. The girl only seemed to believe him out of politeness. She asked him to help her save the cat. He was ready to refuse, until she said she would let him touch her breasts as a thank you. It was then that the boy's eyes began to glaze over, a sense of justice appeared, and he realized that he had never been so close to his goal before. What was this if not a chance? We must take it. It was either now or never. He promised Power that they would definitely save her cat and kill that demon. He finds out that Makima has people above and beyond her, to whom she must answer. This whole project with the special department was invented by them, people from above. After the brief report, she and Aki go about their business. She told me that names are given to demons for a reason. They signify their essence and give them power. Because it's by saying its name that people understand what the demon is capable of and become afraid of it. Then, feeding on people's fears, the demon becomes stronger. Consequently, the demons whose names sound scary are more powerful than, for example, demons whose name sounds nice or common. Suppose a death demon or a jam demon sounds scarier. Of course, everyone would say death demon. Accordingly, it's stronger than jam demon. They also talked a little Denji. Aki confessed to Makima that he wasn't thrilled with the kind of partner she gave him for the team. He's just a kid, he hasn't seen life yet, and he doesn't understand the responsibility of the job he's doing. But that's just thinking out loud. Meanwhile, Power and Denji arrive at the place where the demon is holding Mayafka hostage. As they began to approach the ill-fated house, the guy began to suspect something, because what Power was telling him was a little out of touch with reality. The girl interrupted his suspicious thoughts with a sharp blow to the head. He didn't have time to react and immediately fell backward. It turned out that the demon who had grabbed the cat had imposed conditions on the possessed. He would let Miyaka go, but only in exchange for someone else. By someone else, he meant the person that Power had brought him. Well, here's something unpredictable happened. Denji's blood didn't suit the demon, it was mixed, disgusting, and unpalatable. Enraged by such disgusting food, the demon, though healed, decided to punish Power for her insolence. Right in front of her eyes he took the poor kitty and ate it, shoving it into his filthy mouth. Power was shocked, desperate, she didn't want anything else, she went into a stupor. Then it wasn't me who grabbed her and swallowed her after her beloved cat. By this point, Denji had managed to wake up. Though he hated Power for her betrayal, he couldn't let go of his dream of touching a woman's breasts so easily. So at least for the sake of that, he owed it to her to save her. He also remembered what it was like to have a beloved friend and how painful it was to lose him, to live without being able to stroke him. In a way, he understood Power. He probably would have done the same if Pasita had been in that cage. As the boy hovered in his memories and assessed the situation, the demon was already imagining how he would shred children and people in the city he wanted to attack. Not Denji's turn, he wouldn't let a monster like this Neosynth hurt people. The hunter pulled himself together and rushed after the demon. He grabbed hold of its paw and already in flight, as they tumbled off the rooftops, he turned into a chainsaw. This was definitely not what the demon had expected, and they began to fight. The battle was spectacular and very destructive. The fight could have easily injured the locals of the town where the fight had unfolded. There were debris everywhere, destroyed buildings, fire, and a bunch of dangerous situations in which ordinary people could die. Denji, like a true hero, saved a few people, but unfortunately not all. The demon only laughed at his yellow attempts to fix the situation, but the guy didn't give up and desperately attacked him. Fate was much bigger than him, he threw at him debris of houses, cars of people and tried to just crush the guy. Well, Denji is not as simple as he seems, he is able to regenerate thanks to blood, and he is very dodgy. Dodging his opponent's simple attacks, he easily reached him and chopped him to pieces with his sharpest saws.